Happy New Year, Kent County Skywarn. My name is Colin McConkey, and I serve as the Kent County Skywarn Coordinator. And I just wanted to take a few minutes with you and look back on 2024 and look ahead to 2025. First and foremost, thank you, no matter what position you serve in Kent County, for all of the wonderful effort and hours that you have put in to make Kent County Skywarn a continued success in 2024. And I have full confidence that Kent County Skywarn will be able to do bigger and better things in 2025. Looking back on the year that was 2024, we see four main themes of change that occurred, namely with leadership, with operational model updates, and then changes to severe weather throughout the country, namely in that it became more active in 2024 compared to 2023. And then in 2025, we'll look ahead to the integration with the Kent County Emergency Services team, as well as briefly introduce you to the Skywarn homepage and the FAQ page, and briefly talk about the membership checklists. Firstly, in reviewing 2024, Tom Baylor, of course, retired as the Kent County Skywarn team leader effective April 1st of 2024. We're very thankful for the 4 years of service that Tom gave us. He poured his heart and soul into Kent County Skywarn, doing the best that he could to make it a success, and we're very appreciative of his efforts, and we're going to continue to take his legacy as well as all those that came before him, previous to him serving in leadership, and we're going to continue to build on that foundation in 2025. In 2024, in early 2024, I was still serving as the assistant team leader underneath Tom. When Tom retired, I was appointed as the new Kent County Skywarn Coordinator, that is team leader, with the approval of Kent County Emergency Management, the Kent County Emergency Services Director, as well as the acting team leaders of Kent County Skywarn at the time. And so very appreciative of all those that supported me in giving me references to that position and have continued to support me now in the months since April 1st of 2024, as I have the privilege of serving you as your Skywarn coordinator. The very first thing I did as a new team leader was I increased the size of the leadership team. Surrounding yourself with good leaders is absolutely vital as a leader yourself to ensure that your team can go much further than what you could ever take it yourself. And so very grateful that Dick Seeley stayed as a deputy coordinator. Dick has been very helpful in terms of helping me think through how to mold and shape Skywarn in accordance with the National Incident Management System and the Incident Command System in terms of operating with the OXCOM methodology. He encouraged me in my journey to complete the OXCOM certification. I had the opportunity to work some public service events with him as he also was completing his OXCOM certification. Very appreciative of the wisdom and the insight and the discernment that Dick brings as a deputy coordinator to everything that we do for Skywarn. We also had two new faces join the leadership team this year, namely Kaylee Jung and Steve Eilers. Kaylee has been a very active Kent County Skywarn team member for a number of years, frequently serving as a scribe. And Steve Eilers also has been as well. Steve was hugely instrumental in bringing us forward into the modern era with technology in building the Spotter Connect platform. More on that later. Kaylee, in her own right, was hugely helpful in being a frequent net control and scribe for our Skywarn nets, as well as completely revamping our outdoor warning siren test system in that we redeveloped our outdoor warning siren test net map along with the help of our subject matter expert, Mike Book, a very active team member as well. Very much appreciate everything that Kaylee and Mike did to really revitalize our outdoor warning siren test nets. As we look at the severe weather recap across the country, this is the tornado warning events as issued by the local weather forecasting offices throughout the country. We can see the western portion of the United States didn't see tornado warnings like the rest of the country did. The Central Plains, the classic tornado alley area of the country in Oklahoma and so forth, saw a huge number of tornado warnings this year. Very surprisingly and somewhat anomalously, southwestern Ohio and the portion along the Ohio River Valley to our south saw a very high number of tornado warnings this year. Ohio in its own right was its own mini tornado alley this year. Here in West Michigan, the National Weather Service in Grand Rapids issued 21 tornado warnings, only one of which was for Kent County, which thankfully did not result in an actual tornado. But nevertheless, it was a very active year across the country for tornado warnings. But not only was it active for tornado warnings, it was extremely active for severe thunderstorm warnings. The National Weather Service here in Grand Rapids issued 88 severe thunderstorm warnings for the West Michigan area, many of which also, about 12 to 13 of which included the Kent County area, as I recall. But nevertheless, very active throughout the country. I believe actually all but one National Weather Service office throughout the country, including Alaska, Hawaii, and Puerto Rico, issued actually two. Guam has an NWS office, but all but two NWS offices issued severe thunderstorm warnings. The Guam National Weather Service office did not, and the Southern Alaskan NWS office also did not. But nevertheless, very active year for severe thunderstorm warnings throughout the country. Looking at the highest SBC Day 1 convective categorical outlook, big thanks to Jonah Drake, KE8ULI, very active team member and mobile spotter, for providing me with this graphic here. We can see that January, February, and March were relatively quiet, with some exceptions such as February 27th and a couple risk days in March. But in springtime, not surprisingly, is when our severe weather season really kicked off. And it intensified in May and June. Those were the busiest months for us, with, of course, the highest number of attendant convective categorical outlooks, namely marginal, slight, and enhanced, in May and June. July was also busy as well, and then activity started to taper off in August, and by September, our severe weather season for thunderstorms was pretty much over at that point. But especially from May through August, very active year. We had a number of activations very close together. We did not see a moderate or high risk this year, which was certainly good. Those do not bring any beneficial impacts to local residents or local property. The highest risk we did see was a level 3 out of 5. We saw it twice, an enhanced risk. Those two risks thankfully did not result in any impact to Kent County. Other areas that were in that enhanced risk did see highly impactful severe weather, but Kent County did not. And so we did not actually even need to activate during those enhanced outlooks. So when did we activate? Well, we activated twice in January for severe winter weather with our snowfall nets. We activated February 27th for an anomalous warm weather pattern that dropped about 30 to 40 degrees overnight. On February 27th, that brought a risk of tornadoes and severe thunderstorms with it. March was quiet in terms of severe weather. April, we saw a couple activations and the start, as outlined in blue, of the outdoor warning siren test nets. Our severe weather activations being in red, the outdoor warning siren test nets being in blue. And then we can see that activity picked up in May and June. And then we only in July and August had one activation in each of those months. And after August 27th, we did not activate again for severe weather for the Kent County area. Now, other areas in West Michigan close to us certainly did see severe weather, and so there were times we were monitoring on command and control and so forth. But in terms of an actual team activation, we didn't need one anymore after August 27th. And there were actually only 4 categorical risks issued for the West Michigan area after August 27th. So it was a somewhat compressed severe weather season. The outlooks came fast and furious, as did the activations, but nevertheless, by the time August rolled around, it had started to quiet down. Looking at our operational model updates, we updated our methodology from the ARRL ARES, that is the Amateur Radio Emergency Service Program, to align with the CISA OXCOM methodology, which is what is now recognized across the state of Michigan and locally here in Kent County. CISA is the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency. OXCOM is the only FEMA-recognized volunteer position for amateur radio operators. OXCOM is not a private volunteer organization like ARES is. OXCOM is an official FEMA certification, as well as, or I should say CISA certification, as well as what is the training standard now for volunteer amateur radio emergency communications operators throughout the state of Michigan and locally here in Kent County. It's predicated on the platform of the National Incident Management System and the Incident Command System. And while it certainly does not exclude amateur radio, it relies heavily upon it. It also incorporates other communications platforms as well. And we see that reflected in our transition to ICS forms. We see it reflected in incorporating the General Mobile Radio Service, or GMRS, as an approved platform to conduct Skywarn nets. And we finally see it in appointing a Kent County Skywarn GMRS liaison. Mark Emery, WRWN 809, was hugely helpful. For those of you that are amateur radio operators who are not active on GMRS, you may not have known, but Mark, pretty much every time we had a severe weather net on amateur radio, Mark was running a GMRS Skywarn net simultaneous on the GMRS side. So very appreciative of all that Mark has done to build Skywarn in the local community through his nets, through his networking, and actually through the great work that Mark did, we ended up being a year ahead of what I anticipated in terms of introducing GMRS Skywarn nets. I did not think that we would be able to do that until now, 2025, but we actually were able to do it months ahead of schedule, and that was only possible through the great work that Mark did. We also moved command and control operations to Zello. The Victor 3 repeater that we conducted them on under the previous leadership team is a fantastic repeater with good county coverage, but Zello just works so much better for those of us that don't always have access to an analog FM amateur radio. Victor 3 has no means of accessing it outside of an analog FM amateur radio, either handheld or base station or mobile. Zello is so much more convenient in that it allows us to send text messages, photos, videos, as well as have push-to-talk capabilities on our cell phones to get immediate crystal clear audio no matter where we are. Hugely helpful for command and control. We're going to continue using that in 2025. Steve Eilers brought one of the biggest changes to Kent County Skywarn from a technology standpoint. He enabled us to retire Texcom, our old paging platform, as well as Google Sheets, and combined all the functionalities into a much better platform that was built in-house by Steve. So Steve, very appreciative of all that you have done with Spotter Connect and your generosity in terms of your time and your energy and the equipment that you have gifted myself and other team members to be able to keep Kent County Skywarn operations going. Very much appreciate all that you have done. So that is 2024. Let's look ahead the last couple minutes here to 2025. Beginning first with the biggest news, the KEST integration. Kent County Skywarn has integrated, that is reintegrated, after about a 5-year absence with the Kent County Emergency Services team effective today, January 1st, 2025. KEST is the volunteer agency that partners with Kent County Emergency Management. They are the officially sanctioned Oxcom, ARES, and RACES agency. If you don't know what that alphabet soup means, don't worry about it. If you're curious as to what it means, I'd be happy to explain it to you more. But nevertheless, what practically it means is KEST is the agency that can take an amateur radio operator or a GMRS operator and officially affiliate them with Kent County Emergency Management as a volunteer and enable them to do general volunteer work, emergency or auxiliary communications work, or search and rescue work. And so we are excited to once again be part of KEST. We were part of KEST prior to 2019, and now we are back. KEST has provided volunteer services for Kent County Emergency Management, such as general volunteers, search and rescue, and communications for about 30 years now. So a lot of experience combined. They have decades and decades of experience. They have highly trained team members, a lot of wonderful connections and resources. It will be a very good thing for Kent County Skywarn to be integrated back into the emergency management volunteer fold. With that, we are now once again part of the KEST Communications Unit, which, as we will see here on the website, we have built out some basic web pages that go into more detail on that. You can go to kest.org, kcest.org/Skywarn, to see a basic landing page on Kent County Skywarn with the material pretty familiar to those of you who have been around Skywarn for a while. What I would encourage you to do is to review the Skywarn FAQ page, which talks about the membership and application process. It talks about operations and training, and it talks about meetings and public involvement. It talks about how to be a KEST member to renew your Kent County Skywarn team membership. It answers one of the most frequently asked questions, such as, do you need to join search and rescue and complete the search and rescue unit checklist to be part of Skywarn? And the answer is no. We are part of the communications unit, not the search and rescue unit. And it also goes into detail more on the checklists and how to get the free independent study FEMA training online, what the background check process looks like, and what the public meetings look like. The public meetings in 2025 will be the placeholder for some of our public Skywarn team member trainings, and so even if you're no longer an active team member with Skywarn, you're still welcome to attend the public meetings. The way to find the FAQ is to go to kcest.org, click on Frequently Asked Questions, and click on Skywarn Severe Weather Spotters, and you can read more information there. So Kent County Skywarn, once again, thank you for all the wonderful work that you did to make Skywarn a success in 2024, and here's to our continued success and a bright future in 2025. Happy New Year, and I will see you next time.